Hello, workers of the world, and welcome back to Good Work, a roundtable discussion about the world of working. Working is a major part of our lives, so we should talk about it. I'm James Mastriani.
I'm Matt Newell.
And I'm Jake Lloyd Bacon, and despite Matt's sadness, we are a bunch of happy, joyous, chucklehead comedy weirdos, and not journalists. So we're here to learn together.
Yeah.
And, maybe educate, but ultimately we're idiots.
What makes you think I'm so sad? Is just my tone?
It's generally just the tone, which is crazy because when you have a mustache as fantastic as your new mustache is, being sad doesn't seem to it doesn't compute to
Do
me.
you think a mustache is a happy?
I don't think you could be happy with a mustache like that.
You can't.
I'm sorry. I don't think you could be sad.
Whoa.
I misspoke.
You insulted my stash, my mustache.
Listen, between your new stash and my white trash hair, with the two of us together should have like a beer koozie that says
What the fuck
know.
are you
Wow.
insulting me from the top
Wow.
floor?
I'm not
insulting. It's a good
Beer
thing.
koozie. This is a distinguished gentleman's mustache. This is a Scotch on the rocks mustache.
If
this
you-
is not a. I don't even own a fucking beer koozie.
if you cut
We
it
changed our
higher, if you cut it a little bit higher so that it met the corner of your lips, it would just be a cop stash. And I know how much you love the police.
Oh yeah, we love them here.
Yeah, love the cops on Good Work.
Oh man,
Yeah.
so kind.
Shout out to the boys in blue.
This is all a farce. I want to make sure no one confuses it for sincerity.
Yeah.
Except I do have a mustache. It's not a cop stash though. It's a
No,
nice,
it's a very
it's a nice.
Cop stashes are a little bit more trimmed up, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like they're a little bit, they got a little Hitler in them,
No,
like
they
really
don't come
tight.
Yeah,
They don't come around the corners.
They
of the
don't
mouth.
come around the corners.
It's like
Yeah.
the mullet version of a mustache.
Yeah, they've got that authoritarian
What is Tom
feel.
Selleck's?
Oh, he's in a league of his own.
But what is that? That's like a classic. What is that called?
I don't know what that's called.
Isn't that?
Oh
But
my
that's.
goodness.
Isn't it its own, is it not called, like,
It's not called the Selleck.
it's not?
No, it's been around. No way.
I don't know.
Tom
mean-
Selleck has. Yes, I did just Google types of mustaches. Oh boy, what is that called? Julius? John Oates. That doesn't make sense. That's just another person's
You're
name.
fucking
John
sick.
This is a stupid thing I found.
He has a Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. He's got a Sam Elliott. Anyways, this is not mustache talk.
All right, welcome back to Good Mustache.
This is veering off into a completely different podcast. But who knows? Maybe that'll be a little bit of a satellite show. We'll do just all
Spin-off.
mustaches.
Good stash.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
stash.
I will say mustache. Classically, I think a working person's choice of facial hair. Maybe I don't know.
Of an era. Depending on the decade.
Yeah. And that is what this show is. This is a show where we bring news, culture, history, theories, different things from a pro-worker, pro-labor perspective here. We've been off the last couple of weeks, and we are excited to be back, and we're going to be developing the show in new and different ways. We were out because labor negotiations and
Some labor itself.
labor itself, like never, even in our case, never goes away. And so, we were doing some of that ourselves. But we're back. We are back and excited to be here.
Well, let's waste no more time
I
and
am
dive.
excited. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Let's dive right into some news. This one from Chief Leader Robert De Niro. You know him. You like him.
Hey, I'm walking here.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Adrian!
that guy.
Adrian!
If he dies, he dies.
I think
down
he
now!
said it's not a tumor. All right, there it is.
Drop the cannoli. Keep the gun.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
All of the classic De Niro quotes you know and love. Well, he's under fire by union officials because he built a massive studio project in Astoria, Queens called Wildflower Studios. And according to union locals and some elected officials, the studio is being built without union labor, despite assurances to the borough's president's office last year that the contractors hired would recruit a union-affiliated laborers.
Bobby D.
Come on.
Boo. Come
What are you
on,
doing?
Bobby?
Here's the thing. Members of Construction and General Building Laborers Local 79. Bear with me, we have to get through a lot of union names here. We love unions, union names.
They got to be more like...
We need marketing. They need better PR.
They got to be like House Stark.
Or something.
or why not like from sports and have it be like
the Jaguars.
The Jaguars. The Jaguars of the sheet metal Jaguars.
Yeah. Come on.
So we'll get to even more of our assistance that we might be able to offer unions in a moment here. But yes. So Construction and General Building Laborers Local 79 with Steam Lifters Local 638, Steam Fitters, sorry, and Sheet Metal Local 28. They all demonstrated during lunchtime on August 17th on the Greenwich Village born actor's 79th birthday. So on De Niro's birthday. Now here's the thing, is they performed a short one-act improv piece titled The Raging Rat.
I'm looking at the picture.
Yeah, the title, The Raging Rat, of course, based on Raging Bull. So this is what I'm going to say. Let me say something. We need, all right, if you're in SAG maybe or after, if you're an actor or a writer, maybe you're in the Writers Guild or right, join up and help our brothers and sisters in non-performative unions.
First of all,
so that we can really get, because I can't imagine, as much as I support all these men and women, I can't imagine this was like Ace's UCB classes.
Yeah. Can I just say that it says the actor, there's a little photo here. The actor Robert Rat De Niro squared off against Scabby the Rat. So who's the bad guy? Who are we pulling for in this fight? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. One of them should be...
Or is it one of those things where it's like you're like throwing dollar bills into the circle and you're like, kill each other.
What things?
I don't know, like some sort of like...
He goes to a lot of rat fights.
What kind of fight do you
James goes to a lot of rat fights.
You're still pulling for one rat to win.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
No matter what, if you don't care about either of the rats.
That's true.
So listen, all I'm saying is we need some narrative through lines. We need some creative aid.
We need a director.
We need a director.
We need this rat does not look realistic. We need we need someone in post.
I mean, maybe should that just be what we do on the show? Should we write like protest sketches?
Wait, hold on. Is that not what we do? Yeah. You guys have never taken one of my protest sketches seriously.
Is that what those are?
Yeah.
Why are you writing them on toilet paper?
Well, I'm protesting printer paper.
Big paper.
Yeah, and I'm also protesting comedy. That's why they're not funny.
Been protesting comedy your whole career.
My whole career.
So,
why'd you put it in quotes? Why'd you put career in quotes?
De Niro's representatives, big shocker, did not reply to emails seeking comments on the allegations. And this is here's a quote from the spokesperson for the union group. Wildflower has been heralded as a union-built and operated film studio, but De Niro has instead allowed irresponsible contractors and subcontractors with histories of violating workers' rights, union busting, and safety issues to work at this site. Senator Jessica Ramos, state senator from New York, who represents the portion of Queens where it's being built, says De Niro's, quote, career as a proud union actor whose most famous films are dear to many members of the trades. As beloved as his body of work is, we cannot excuse the irresponsible hiring and subcontracting decisions that have already harmed workers' ability to earn family-sustaining wages. It is, of all the people, though, like...
Come on. He seems like the one who would be...
If you told me that, like, RDJ built a thing, and I'd be like, all right, yeah, he's skimped on some stuff, but, like, De Niro's...
He's of the people. He's walking the streets.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of us. Yeah. He's a good fella. He's a good guy.
He was in that movie fighting Shredder saying, Cowabunga, I'm from New York.
Oh, that's right. I forgot his...
I mean, what do you think is... Because obviously De Niro's a very rich guy, right?
Uh-huh.
What are the chances he even had anything to do with hiring the contractors?
That is a really good point.
I'm not trying to let him get away with anything.
No, that's a great point. At some point or another, people at the top are going to delegate.
Totally.
And those delegations are going to grow on our own delegations.
Maybe have your representative say something like, this is... Because this representative didn't say anything. So say, hey, this is... I didn't know. This is fucking sucks. Maybe I'm going to fire everybody who did this. You know what I mean? Like, or have some outrage. That would make me think he didn't have anything to do with it.
Totally.
That's true.
Yeah.
But saying nothing is
saying
guilt.
something.
Yeah.
It's saying a lot.
It's like remember when Oprah got in trouble years ago for like one of her clothing companies was using child labor in Africa or something. Or
I don't remember this.
No.
this is like years and years and years ago. And it's like, and Oprah was like, I had no idea.
Right.
You know, it's like,
she came out. At
yeah,
least,
I didn't know that. Yeah,
totally. She was like, I had no clue, and I think that's probably common for a lot of these,
Yes.
like really, really rich, you know.
Right.
but I would be if I were De Niro,
I agree with you. Yeah.
I would be like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, how come nobody said anything?
Yeah, he's
to. Who's in charge? But unless he didn't know.
Yeah.
Unless he's just like,
he did
save
know,
as much
then
money as you
that's-
can.
Right. Fucking sucks because De Niro, I mean, like, you know, working class guy. He plays a lot of working
That's what
class
I'm saying.
characters.
He's like the hero.
Benefits
De
from
Niro's,
the union.
has he been bad longer than he's been good though? In movies?
I don't.
As an actor?
Yeah. Has he now been bad longer than he's been good?
All right, hang
is he
on.
like The Simpsons? The Simpsons was good for like 6 years.
Yeah.
It's been on for 150 years. So you know what I mean? Like this, there's like certain things we just like hold in this esteem. It's like,
I mean, I'm trying to think. Wasn't he in The Irishman?
yeah,
Whether or not I know
he was
that
an
was,
Irish, but that cancels out Rocky and Bullwinkle. So those two cancel out. And then
wait, do we have to find?
we have
an
to do all
equal
the
and
Fockers.
opposite? All the Fockers.
All the Fockers. All the all the
analyze
this
that
and
cancels
this.
out. Analyze that because that
This
was
and
great.
that.
This was not great.
No, this was good.
The
That was
first one.
not
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good question. It's like getting into kind of like Brett Favre, right? Or like I'm trying to think of another athlete who's like that, who's like
You're talking to the wrong.
Who's been gone? Who's been bad longer than they've been good?
or it's like right on the cusp. You know what I mean? Where
Who
it's
stuck
like-
around too long?
Yeah, just stuck
had
around
a good
too
few,
long.
Good few early
I mean, because
years.
Favre has that. He has like the weird like record or something like he has the most touchdowns, but also the most interceptions.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah,
He just throws the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just fucking close. That's what I would do. I would close my eyes and throw it.
yeah.
Don't hit
I
me.
feel like, I definitely feel like De Niro is
right there. He's getting close.
He's getting close to that level for
I
sure.
don't know. You know what? I think I'm more fair because as I'm looking through his IMDb, I haven't seen a lot of his newer movies, so
says a lot.
he's still more precious in my brain. Well, anyways, fix it, De Niro. We know you're a listener.
Yeah,
We know that you're gonna be.
We know you know a fixer.
You're gonna be first in line to join the all new Good Work Patreon.
Yep,
De
Yeah.
Niro.
that's right, Bobby.
and also when is Dirty Grandpa 2 coming out? That's
Oh my god,
that's what we really want to know.
Oh, yeah, dirty grandpa.
Fuck the unions.
Also, great grandpa at this point.
Yeah.
That's gonna be you. That's literally
gotta-
gonna be the sequel.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Dirty
Oh
Great
my
Grandpa,
Dirty Great Grandpa.
and it's gonna be Zac Efron's kid and Robert De Niro.
Or it's not going to be De Niro's dad.
'cause
They're not going to
Efron's-
have like Christopher Walken play. He's like 2 years older than him or
Yeah.
something playing his dad. or
Yeah.
something.
Well, they're just going to use the Irishman makeup to make somebody who's like 130.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That makeup
digital.
cannot cover up how you move, how you protect your
Yep.
back.
Yeah.
As you get older.
It can't give you knees that you don't have anymore.
Right.
I think one of the craziest facts about De Niro, while we're talking about all this, is De Niro's father, who was like
De Niro Senior.
a great, like a really great artist, used to date both Tennessee Williams and Jackson Pollock.
At the same time?
Maybe, I don't know.
Nice.
But like
I just
De
gave a-
Niro,
I gave a
De
high
Niro
five.
was like introduced
Right.
to like theater and
You know,
acting
the
from
working man's
fucking
actor.
Tennessee Williams as like a little boy. Yeah, it's like that's so
And
crazy. to me.
Pollock, of all people, too. Like, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Anyways, what else we have going on that's not
Okay.
De Niro driven?
In other news,
We're going to need a bigger boat.
we're gonna.
Sorry, more
That's
De
right.
Niro
I can't do it. I was trying to think of another one. I'm not a crook. I am not a crook.
Wasn't that a real? All right.
No, that was Nixon.
That was
I know, but we're
Yeah.
jumping into not even movies now.
I know. Yeah, we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Starbucks. This is our weekly Starbucks
Oh,
news. Starbucks
this-
is on
This week in the Bucks.
This week in the Bucks news. Starbucks is on the at the forefront of unionizing this world because there's a Starbucks in every household.
Yeah.
We're probably, I feel like we do a story once a week from them, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Starbucks illegally withheld raises from union workers, Labor Board says. This is from the Washington Post. Okay. So, Starbucks legally withheld wages and benefits from thousands of unionized baristas, the National Labor Relations Board alleged in a complaint on Wednesday. So they are taking them to court. I believe the complaint arrives during a campaign by the coffee chain and its interim CEO, Howard Schultz, to tamp down unionization efforts at its stores around the United States. More than 230 locations have voted to join the Starbucks Workers United Union. It's got to be called something like the Beans or something like that.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, the Starbucks Beans Union. That's fun.
The Beans Union, Starbucks Workers United Union since late 2021, driving a surge in unionization nationwide. There is... I feel like once a week there's a new store unionizing.
It's pretty. It's
fucking love it.
Same, and I feel like in the future, the way we were talking about this before, but like the way historically we look back at other labor movements in our history, and they've been centered around one industry or started in one industry, and we're gonna look back and be like, this whole period started with coffee shops.
This is our steelworkers.
Totally. It's got to be because we don't make anything in this country anymore,
coffee,
right?
Yeah.
Like, we just
strong.
Yeah.
Union 101 strong brew.
Yeah. It's
So they're saying that they're seeking back payments and benefits for unionized workers since May, and to require Schultz to read a statement to workers about their union rights. So that's part of it.
So wow, it's gonna have to come from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, Starbucks has denied this, and they say, quote unquote, "We've been clear in that we are following NLRB rules when it comes to unilaterally giving benefits," end quote. So you can trust them.
Oh, I believe that. I totally believe that. And this, I mean, like, it's such a bummer because it's like the 75 union leaders, like part of the whole thing. We're going to talk about this later, about this new term that's in the ethos, called quiet quitting, quiet quitting. But like it is, you are taking.
I literally just got you just hypnotized the two of you guys. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because of the headphones, but I completely and totally just had an ethereal moment where I left my body.
Yeah,
your pants are off.
Yeah, EMDR or whatever it is.
It was just a whisper.
ASMR.
That was amazing. Also, I don't think the compression is going to catch any of that. It's all just going to be lost. Too soft. Quiet quitting. You got a stage whisper.
Okay.
These 75 workers that got fired, it is like this thing where, we know something that works to give labor an advantage, which is unionizing, but also people that take the emphasis to unionize put themselves at risk to be kind of like
ostracized,
targeted, fired. Like suddenly, management will look for even the slightest mistake and start, just creating ways of getting rid of you.
But it does look like some of this, there was the Starbucks barista who got fired for unionizing, and there's a judge in Memphis that ordered him to be rehired back.
Hell yeah, that's great.
There's another article in the Washington Post about that. So they're kind of fighting back on these tactics that they're using, hopefully.
Judge Comrade, you say?
No, let me see here. I believe it was Judge Cheryl H. Lipman.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Different guy.
I think Cheryl might be a girl.
Different. Oh,
how gender normative of you.
Yeah, Cheryl.
Wait, me or him? Because he assumed the judge was a guy.
You know what? You're both fired.
Well, hopefully we keep bringing up more Starbucks.
I mean, it seems to be in the news every week.
Yeah, it does. Truly.
I think it's just going to be an ongoing segment.
A Starbucks segment.
Totally. And maybe
a short pull.
If the workers get a little bit more power, maybe they can make a little bit of a better cup of coffee. A little less.
Man, really? I'm all for Starbucks, not for their product. It tastes burnt. It just tastes burnt.
is burnt. It tastes so
right?
burnt.
It just they're the best for out of town. Like if you're out of town,
sure.
you don't know where you're going. You don't know where coffee is.
Because it's consistent, so you know what to expect.
It's gonna get like they'll at least you know the menu. But like
I only get like the dessert things there, so I wouldn't even know because I don't get regular coffee there because I also think it tastes kind of burnt.
It does.
But I just get like the frappuccinos and the cookie blends and all the crazy.
That shit is all good.
Those are not bad.
Yeah,
totally.
There's like a salted caramel one they had for a while that I really liked.
The salted ribbon caramel.
But it was just over ice. I think there was no milk in it. It was just like an iced espresso with caramel or something.
Well, as you said, there is one in every household, so I can get my personal Starbucks barista to whip us something.
Just send him on a break. This is fucked up that he has to sit here for this podcast.
Hey, Jathan, could you whip us up some ribbon frappuccinos? Thanks, Jathan.
Jathan Stateman.
Jathan, yeah. His parents couldn't decide between Jason or Nathan, so they went with Jathan.
It's like Jonathan.
Jonathan, yeah.
I am Jonathan.
Did you guys see this shit about the Amazon Ring and the cops? Did you guys see this?
No, I am familiar with this. In fact, we talk about ethical consumerism on this show. I actually, as everybody should know by this point, we're all performers, actors living in Los Angeles. I had to turn down an audition because I found out it was for Ring, and I'm like, of all of the things that I'm willing to advertise, which by the way, that bar is low. Like I'm not that high brow. Like, but the Ring was the one that I couldn't quite bring myself to be like, you know what? And especially because
you promote child-size handcuffs.
Oh
which
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
are weird.
All sorts of really, really, really sketchy shit.
It's like, why do we need these?
They look like toys, but they're just actual working handcuffs.
Also, what an unsettling commercial that would be to see. Like you're just eating dinner and suddenly it's just like a commercial with some like
having trouble with your toddler.
Child taser not included.
But the big problem I had was not just advertising the product; it was the way that the product was being advertised.
Oh,
and
shit.
The audition was for. I'm probably breaking some sort of NDA here. Whatever, they don't listen. Although Jeff Bezos does listen, we've learned he might call again from space for all we
listening.
Know. It was staging real Ring footage, so it wasn't like a shtick performative. They wanted to create things that looked like real Ring footage of people trying to break and enter homes. That then the person goes, "I'm recording you, and the police are on their way," or and then I've
seen that campaign. I think I've seen some of those.
It's people that look like me with this shitty hair and this face. We're criminalist and gross, and because you can't trust anybody, and your neighbors are all out to get you, and so you have to then pretend that you got busted, and then run away when you realize. And I was like, I hate Ring cameras so much. They are dividing our communities. We used to trust our neighbors.
Yeah.
Neighborhoods used to be about protecting one another. And shit like Ring and the fear-mongering police state is essentially making us not trust the people who live 14 feet to our left and right. And it's so problematic. So anyways, continue
It also reminds me of like
I don't mind them.
Citizen.
Because I want to see who's at the door before I go because I don't like everybody.
That's fine.
Oh yeah.
But it's not but do you need to see before they go? Do you need to record them the entire time?
No. But I'm just I'm like there's something about like if my doorbell rings right now,
right,
and I can go and like, oh, I got a package.
Right.
I think packages is the main.
Which is also why, by the way, there are other companies.
Yes.
And I use Wise Cams, the company. Which, by the way, this episode of Good Work brought to you in part by Wise Cams.
What's their slogan?
WYZE. Wise up and get your ass a Wise Cam.
Yeah. Is that really it?
I have no idea.
We won't sell your videos to the cops.
We won't sell your videos.
That's the problem I have. Yes, that's the issue. Is that this article that you just sent us, James.
And so just to dive into this, so that the listeners get a little bit of context of what we're talking about. So Amazon has an agreement.
The owner of Ring Cams, if you're not aware, Amazon.
Amazon is the owner of Ring Cams. If you don't know the owner of Amazon, his name is Jeff Bezos. He's been on this show before.
You hear us, Jeff.
And they have agreed with 2,000. I got the number wrong before the show when we were talking about it. I thought it was 400. 2,161 police departments across the country to allow them access to Ring camera footage, which I don't know, is like weird, right? Like
it's unconstitutional. It's
and this is without the owners. This is without the owners knowing this. This is without people who are being seen on camera knowing this.
It's part of like the user agreement that you log into when you turn on your Ring camera,
which to me is just fucking
Big Brother.
Weird. It is.
And you know, there's a lot of. It's hard to say stuff like Big Brother. Oh, this is like George Orwell because
cliche,
because it's cliche and people go like, oh, it's an overreaction. But like this is
literally it.
This is the instance.
This is where it comes. Like this is
totally.
They were just filming everything.
Exactly,
and that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's 100%. And the fact that they could just do this without, they can use this footage without a warrant or without is insane.
And by the way, if you look deeper into the numbers of what it does to the community and the people who end up, because by the way, you know, this, if you're just happen to be, if you don't look the right way, if you're not the right, you know, skin tone for a neighborhood, or if you're not whatever, and some shit happens and you just happen to be walking on a sidewalk, not even approaching a house, then you are now a suspect because of somebody's Ring camera that picked you up from 30 feet off of the sidewalk.
Right.
And you can be identified pretty easily. It's a problem.
You know what else is really contradictory about it too? And this is kind of how I think it also plays into labor, right? Amazon has one of the largest workforces in the country.
Absolutely.
Right? So if they have this agreement with over 2,000 police departments, I mean, like it's almost guaranteed that, you know, this is involving even people that work at Amazon, right? So like people that work at Amazon are now kind of like being creating the Ring, right? Like let's say you're creating, you know, this thing only to be watched by both the company you work for and also law enforcement, like being
law enforcement who pushes the product, by the way. Like law enforcement, they do ads for Ring camera. Some departments are selling this merchandise.
Fucking weird, man.
It seems really like it's weird. Such a like the Venn diagram of the red sliver in the middle that should never occur. It's the police selling a product.
Yeah.
Are they using all the information? I mean, I'm sure they are. I'm just looking at this article. Oh, this is from Politico, by the way. We should give a shout out to these.
This article is Politico. Amazon gave Ring videos to police without owner's permission. Is the headline.
It says they gave or they give and continue to give.
Well, right now it says gave, but I think it's give.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good headline. Actually.
That's not
too ingrammatically, not grammatically correct. There, they give and give and give and gave. It's nuts. I wonder if they're like using the like, because I don't have a Ring. We don't have a doorbell cam at all, but there are times when I just like wish I had one.
We don't. I mean, here at the Dragon's
like you said, the Wise cam.
But we don't even have a. We don't have a what do you call Peephole? So for us, it's like I would also like to see who's at the door before I open it. And this is a solid door here. There's no windows next to it. It's physically impossible for us to see who is in our hallway.
You got to put a Peephole. You can get a Peephole kit. You know, they're like $10
for a Peephole kit.
Yeah, we put one in our old place. It's just you just drill a hole. It tells you what size, and it gives you like a little tube and two lenses on the side, and just
make little Peephole.
Make your own Peephole, man.
This is the listeners. This is
Peephole Corner.
Yeah,
the people by the people.
I think it's very alarming that Matt is so adept at creating peepholes.
I can put a peephole in any bathroom in the world.
Give me 20 minutes.
I hear you get a Peephole included with every purchase of your child's size.
Yeah, you get one Peephole, one reverse Peephole.
Reverse Peephole?
Like Kramer did. You remember?
Reverse Peephole. Well, there's the name of this episode.
Reverse Peephole.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. This all this stuff. I wonder if they're just selling like how often I leave, like, or not I, but whoever has one. Like, where do you, like, what information are they getting from that camera?
Totally.
What you're dressed for? Are you like? That's what I mean. Like, I wonder what hours are you leaving and not home? Yeah.
Yep. And then also, like, not even on an individual level, like what is there some sort of data? I don't even know. I'm just wondering, is there some sort of data to be collected from observing, mass quantities of people's moments or lives or days?
Oh, I'm sure how they're dressed, when they order food,
totally.
How often they
whether
do lawn work,
whether or not like how many members of the family there are, whether they have kids, if those kids play pets, if they play outside. And by the way, this is all data that we're not talking about necessarily being used for like violence or mischievous or criminal activity.
No, just selling us
advertising.
Stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This is for sure.
This is all.
That's more important.
Totally.
That's more important than steal. Like that.
Sure.
That's where the money is.
Money is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's literally like our lives are people are just opting to allow their lives to be recorded and given to whoever really, truly, ultimately Amazon decides to give it to.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about other cameras. I know we're talking about Wise here. I'm joking. They don't actually sponsor the show. That's just the cameras that we use. But we don't record anything.
Yeah.
It's simply I can click and look at the camera. It's like a closed circuit sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's no data being recorded and sent to a server somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. It's all internal. There's nothing going out. There's nothing leaving. There's no Swedish den of servers holding all of your family's footage.
One of my friends does have a Ring, and she sent us a very cute video of a coyote sleeping on her bench.
You know what?
And I was like, that might be worth it.
I am not saying that I don't watch the shit out of those like bear videos.
Yeah.
And, like,
That's
when
what
like
they
shit
should-
comes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
no.
I heard that coyote was executed by the state.
Yeah, but did you see what he did?
I think you're talking about the fox that attacked that woman in New York last week.
What?
Did you see that?
no.
So a rabid fox just walked up
Oh my
really
God.
sweetly, like, "Hey, I'm a cute
Better-
little fox," and then just
Not better than a foxy rabbit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. What do you mean?
like a really sexy rabbit, like Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
she
Now
was
we're
a
talking.
human. She was just a human.
Her last name was Rabbit. She was a rabbit.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking
I
about?
bet you
What are
Jessica
we
Rabbit
talking about?
needed child-size handcuffs just for Roger.
No, he could slip them on and off. He did that. There was
Oh,
a
he
bit.
did. He literally did that.
Yeah,
totally
he was
did that.
handcuffed
Right.
to
Yeah.
the I can't remember his name.
Well,
Bob
everybody
Hoskins.
knows from that movie the famous Robert De Niro quote, "Not the dip."
Yeah. Yeah.
This episode of Good Work is brought to you in part by The Chief, a New York City-based newspaper focused on municipal government, civil servants, and the important issues affecting New York State and federal employees. Visit thechiefleader.com, where you can subscribe for as little as $2.75 a month.
Hey, this is Zen Zenith just sneaking in to say check out the House Show with Zen Zenith. That's me on Dragon Wagon Radio. The House Show is a live concert series featuring stripped-down performances and interviews with amazing singer-songwriters. We do the whole thing in front of a real live audience at a real live house and package the whole thing up into a podcast for you to experience in the ease of your home or car. Real intimate performances, real intimate conversations with great people. Check it out at thehouseshowshow.com or on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever else good podcasts are found. We'll see you there.
All right, workers, welcome back. And in the second half here, we want to dive into this new this hot new rage hitting the zeitgeist that everybody's discussing.
Quiet quitting.
It took you so long to come up with the words for that. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
to say that we're not hip people here. Okay?
Yeah. It did take me a moment to go like, oh, what do
the kids say these days?
It's
all the rage.
It's all the rage. It's the bee's knees.
It's not very mid, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're such a chooky.
What?
Yeah, look it up, Bubba.
I didn't know
That's
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
Fisco girl. No, Chooky's
Chugi's
not a
Gen
boomer.
Z.
Yeah,
Gen
but-
Z, baby. They're with it. Yeah.
All right, well, what are we actually talking about?
We're talking about quiet quitting.
So this is just quiet quitting. For those who know, it's when you walk in your boss's office and you say, "I quit,"
Yeah.
and you say it really softly, and then you turn around and leave.
Yeah. Or you mutter it under your breath or
I'm okay.
yeah. So basically it's the idea of like a individual worker not working really hard, kind of holding back a certain level of labor.
Alrighty.
And I guess like, and we were discussing this earlier, and Matt was bringing up a really good point that I'll let him share about his issues with the title of it. But one, I think it's kind of funny because it's like, at what period in human history ever has anybody not, put in 100% effort in something, right? Like, this has been going on for forever. It's not this.
Oh,
new...
you mean when has anybody have put in 100%? You said the other way around. When have
My
they
bad.
not put in?
Okay,
got it. Yeah.
Like nobody's ever. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. I mean,
I think there are people who do.
I definitely think, and
passion projects,
and
like,
also it depends on the type of work. If you're, I mean, we're all in the entertainment industry. You've been on a set for 12 hours, and everybody's working their ass off.
Yeah,
because you got to make a day, and everybody knows that what they're doing is.
I think.
Oh yeah, I'm
someone
not
like Kobe Bryant put in more than 100% for his work. You know what I mean? Like he's like a notorious workhorse.
But I'm saying as a concept, right?
Sure.
Like,
like the greater percentage.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying like in history, there have always been people that have been like slacked. In the 20s, they were called loafers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like people have always.
But this isn't that. I don't think.
No,
Quiet quitting is
No.
not that.
It's not loafing.
It's not loafing. No, it's just doing your job without. It's. I think that's the problem I have with the term. It's not quiet quitting. It's I'm doing the job you're paying me to do. I'm not staying past. I'm not working overtime for free. I'm doing what you pay me to do and no more. I'm not checking emails when I get home.
right.
Like that's the
and
problem with
people group that in with quiet quitting.
That is quiet quitting. That is the thing. I'm just going to do the bare minimum. Yeah, that's all you should do what they're paying you to do and not more than that.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's
so it's actually more of a problem with the words bare minimum, I think.
No, it's that you're not quitting.
Sure.
You're not
Right.
doing your
Right.
job.
I guess the way that I interpreted the phrase is you don't care if you get fired, so you are doing less than you're asked, and you are kind of quote loafing.
I don't think it's that. It's like I'm just going to do.
Because I have done that before.
Yes,
Same.
When I was
I've
in my 20s,
slacked off and loafed off, but that's not what quiet
Yeah.
quitting is. Quiet quitting is this term that they're throwing around to show like people aren't putting in extra effort to do the work anymore. Like it's the thing where like when I was your age, like the old people say, it's like I would work 20 hours a day, 8 days a week, and it's like, and we got paid nothing. It's like, well, that sucks.
That
dude.
sounds awful.
You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have been exploited. You should have done. They should pay you for what you're doing, and that's what like it's
also
setting boundaries, and I'm protecting myself by not killing myself and having a heart attack at work.
Right.
Which if I do have a heart attack at work, you will have a replacement for me before I'm in the ground.
Yeah.
So I don't fucking matter.
For sure.
I don't fucking matter. You know what I mean? So it's not quitting. It's doing the job you're getting paid for.
Right.
That's my problem with the term quiet quitting.
Interesting. See, and
I think that's what a lot of people are saying, like, this is a bullshit. This is like the media saying this term to say it's like this like work from home, like, oh, it's all these articles that come out. It's like, you got to work in an office. You got to work in an office.
Yeah,
it's like, it's what this mass, what do they call this?
Exodus?
Mass exodus of office work.
Resignation.
Yes.
Or
Yes. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's people not getting exploited and waking up and going, like, no, I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
My life is more important than your job.
A lot of that
is
also like, I mean, I don't, not to derail this and turn it all into about working from home, which I'm pretty sure we've already done this podcast and we'll do many more times.
Oh, yeah.
But
Right.
Alexandra, my better half, is a perfect example of somebody. She has a full-time, very demanding full-time job that she works from home. And because she works from home and she is an incredible worker who does, quote, the bare minimum, but it isn't, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Like she works really hard.
Yeah.
She's doing all the work that needs to get done.
Yes.
And it's a really high pressure job. She works in, a form of prep for higher education. And she's like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Because she works from home, it's very easy for her to wake up and immediately be on the clock, or for her to be on the clock extra late because she did something midday that took 15 minutes and now she feels in her brain like she owes an hour. So there is something about this like mass exodus of offices that people think like, oh, people aren't working because they're at home.
Yeah.
I argue that when you work at home, you work significantly
Yes.
harder than when you're in the office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when you are in the office, you're at work. When you're home after that office, your brain is off. But when your workspace is your living space, they mend and you don't set a clear, like, it's 6:00, I'm done. That doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
When you're at home. So that's another issue I have with like the like,
I agree with
if you're
that
at
too.
home,
Yeah.
you're not doing your job because she works
And-
her ass off. In fact, I have to tell her all the time, like, you can stop this today. Like, you worked enough hours today.
Right.
You did what
can-
they paid you for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but she's good at her job. She wants to do well. And by the way, she's very client focused. She wants her clients to be happy. She's, like she takes her job seriously.
Yeah.
She's proud of her work. And so that's a whole other issue I have with
And
the
I
exodus
mean,
of the
if you're
offices.
doing that and you don't
Yeah.
feel exploited and you're not doing a job
Right.
that you like are just doing it for the money.
Right,
And I think
sure.
that's what most jobs are.
Oh,
You're
totally.
doing
Sure.
this for a paycheck. And once I reach that, I'm not going to go past that.
Yeah.
Right.
And like now you're taking my
Now you owe me more money.
life. Yes.
Yeah.
Now you owe me more money.
Right.
Because they don't go
Yeah.
they don't go above and beyond. They don't pay you more money. They don't go home at 4 today and I'll pay you till 5.
Right.
They never fucking do.
Right,
That's
way.
insane.
Oh yeah, there's no
There's no quiet
inverse version
Yeah,
of
there's
that.
no inverse version. It's always on the employee.
right.
You got to go above and beyond. You got to. This is an entry level. You got to work hard. This is an internship.
those-
you got to prove to me that I should.
Those episodes of The Office where Michael Scott's like, you know what, everybody, like, take the rest of the day off.
Yeah.
And they still get their salary. Like, that doesn't.
No,
that
no,
doesn't
no,
matter.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
It's funny too because like it's I feel like these companies and there's like kind of like a parallel I think to this with like nationalism as well, but on a bigger scale, where it's like the company will use sort of like these idealistic notions when it benefits them, right? Like for example, we're a big family at work. Like, they'll toss
my
out
God.
like, oh, we're a big this is
welcome
a
to the
family,
Sam's Club
right?
family.
Exactly. But
Oh
when it
my
benefits
God.
them or they need it to benefit them, but when they have to cold-heartedly cut your ass or lay you off.
Oh, yeah.
They're a business, and this is a bottom
This
line.
is a business
and this
decision.
is-
We have to
yeah.
make money. It's like, oh, I thought we were a
It's
fucking
not
family.
personal.
I thought we were a
I thought you were
family.
my daddy.
Yeah,
It's not personal.
yeah. I thought.
And by the
Daddy,
way-
no, daddy. Just start saying that when they go, no, mommy. Start having it.
yeah.
And by the way, where's my goddamn birthday present?
Yeah. We just have a birthday like that in the office. We have a birthday month.
And it's like,
where
is
everyone's
this-
birthday is this month.
All right, now we're just doing everything that they did in the office.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Is this a collective? Is this a family or
I know.
Or
It's-
is this a fucking negotiated?
So So to return it to the idea of this quiet quitting, it does seem like maybe there are different versions of what this phrase really means
Right.
going around. And is there a version of the quiet quitting that is more like what I'm talking about? Where when I worked at a bike shop that I was desperate to get fired from when I was 22 years old or 23 years old, that I just sat in the office and just was online on message boards and just didn't work all day
Right.
until eventually they went, hey, you need to sign this paper that says you're going to stop visiting all these,
I guess that's the same. I mean, that's not this.
because that was me. Like, I wasn't necessarily quote trying to get fired, but I was just I was
You
going
didn't
to last.
want-
I was
yeah.
going to last as long as I could without doing any additional work.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. I
yeah.
don't know if there. I mean, maybe that should be what. I mean, it's
Like,
like,
'cause that's
oh,
what-
if
that's
you're
what I think it
trying
means.
to get cool.
Yeah.
You're trying to.
That's
No,
why
it's
I
just.
think the phrase in my brain. That's what I leap to when I hear. The
Oh, if
phrase
you're not
quiet
doing,
quitting.
yeah. No,
But-
I think it's doing things that going above and beyond,
Yeah.
which you shouldn't be doing.
And so where does the phrase come from? Because I feel like it's
a TikToker.
Yeah, I think
Created
it
the
it's
phrase.
a TikToker.
I just yeah.
And was the TikToker who created the phrase? Do
Let's
you know?
see.
Were they creating it on behalf of labor, or on behalf of a cap?
I think it was more of a just like they hashtagged. They're like sitting in my job, not doing anything, quiet quitting. Hashtag.
Oh, I
I
see.
feel like it was
I
something
see.
like that took off.
Yeah.
That went viral. Let me just look it up though, so I'm not just TikToker. Who invented? Yeah,
Who
Google
invented-
machine.
Who invented quiet
oh
quitting?
man,
It's it's I think that the whole notion that we should all always want to work an hour extra or come in on Saturday or take our work home or whatever is so fucking stupid. And I think that's a part of it as well. It's like we treat our workplace a lot like sports, like athletics, right? Like you watch Hard Knocks on HBO, and it's all NFL players just like push,
Sure, yeah.
go, push your body even more. And it's like, that makes sense. They're trying to win a championship. They're being paid a ton of money for it.
But they're not doing it at home.
They're not doing it at home.
Like, that's the difference. They're not like running drills with their, like, they're not doing it in the car, right? Like, they're not staying. When it's done, they're done. You know what I mean? They're doing
training camp. They are at the facility.
Yes.
They are. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally.
So I think
I will say it's a
not
little bit
trying. It's not doing your job. They're doing their job.
right.
Right.
It is a little bit tougher
Right.
to draw the analogy over to athletes though, because
Yes.
like you do have to dedicate your entire life, like when you eat, what
Yes.
you eat, like all. So you do.
Does
I think
LeBron sleep in a
they
hyper,
sort of, yeah, right.
like a oxygen
Yeah.
chamber,
The shit
like
that-
a
the shit that
fucking
Daredevil sleeps
vampires?
in,
Yeah, that's or Ra's al Ghul. Yes.
Exactly. So
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
I think
true.
it's tougher to draw that analogy.
Yeah.
But again, like the most,
It's so special.
Most of
It's
us
such a
that's just-
specialized.
most of us that clock in and dedicate hours that aren't salaried workers that dedicate a
Right.
specific amount of hours to a task.
Yeah.
Being asked to do more than that. So how does quiet quitting attach to the other thing we were talking about?
Surveillance?
Which was like the surveillance element.
Yeah, totally. So to me, quiet quitting feels like if it's something that an individual is trying to intentionally do. Let's say they're intentionally to themselves, they're like, I'm gonna quiet quit. It feels like a reach for some sort of, in my mind, some sort of like power advantage in the like employer-employee relationship, right? Trying to find that balance.
I'm not being exploited.
Without being
Well, I think I'm not going to get exploited.
I'm not
today.
going to get exploited. Trying to dull the exploitation as much as possible, which is like, all right, you're going to exploit me, fine. Well, I'm not going to, I'm not going to work an extra hour today or whatever, right? And it's just interesting to me, the dialectic of how both sides are constantly trying to find that balance, which is way off kilt because
Right.
the employer class already has so much. And it also came out recently that through the New York Times that a lot of employers are using tracking technology to follow at-home workers and surveil them, going as far as, and this is another phrase that's been bouncing around. The ethos is it's called the Great Bargain.
The Great Bargain?
Yeah, and the Great Bargain is this
I think
idea.
I shop there. I think it's around the corner. They've got pretty good produce.
Yeah, pretty good produce, but not that great of a bargain.
No.
And it's this idea that you can work from home as long as I, the employer, get to surveil you and dock pay from times when I feel like you're not working. So, for example, there was...
Is it I'm sorry to interrupt, but like surveil based on like when you're logged in, or like like what we were talking about earlier with Ring cameras, like actually watching
like
you?
a webcam.
I think it's both.
Oh.
I think it's both. It's and or. I think it's kind of like company dependent, or
Okay.
and
I would never agree to this.
totally.
I mean, this sounds insane.
Yeah.
And also, what is the specific job that they
Right.
can watch you and know if you're like know if you're like you're not thinking about this. You're
Right,
thinking
right,
about
sure,
something else.
sure,
Like,
right.
It's so
Well,
bizarre.
I guess it has to be a task that's fit. Like,
like
if you have to be
like
on your
entering
computer.
Totally.
numbers,
Yeah.
like or whatever.
You're
that-
not typing.
Yeah.
And like it'd be a thing like if you were sending an email that wasn't work related, then they
Wow.
would, all of those emails would start to add up in terms of, okay, that's not work related, so we're docking this amount of pay from that, right?
Wow.
And on the counter of that though is like some workers have been like, okay, but I also will think about and do work away from when I'm actually working.
course.
I'll have an idea, I'll write it down on a napkin.
Do I get paid for that idea?
No.
When I might
That's
have-
exactly the yeah.
Yeah.
I might have swung by my local unionized Starbucks.
Yeah.
And sat there and, did some work by hand because I was sick of looking
Yeah.
at a screen for 10 minutes.
Totally. And so I think it's interesting that like while this new phrase quiet quitting is kind of coming into the world here, it almost feels counterbalanced by the employer class doubling down on their power by being like, well, then we're going to watch you even harder. We're going to, it's like this constant shift back and forth that's, already starting off so off balance.
And I mean, the reality is, it's not like when you work in an office, it's very hard to not be working either.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, I mean, with the exception of maybe physical security cameras, like making sure that you're there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
But even just disappearing off of a sales floor for a little while, it's not like people beyond maybe someone trying to reach you and be like, hey, where the heck did James go? Like, it's not, it's such a weird, this is such a weird
taking
concept.
another shit.
Yeah.
He keeps taking shits. I saw a term called quiet shitting on anti-work. It was just like when people go and like they take shits when they're still on the clock. It's like such a funny.
That's really.
It's
funny.
like because it just shows how stupid the term is. I think
really,
it's like
only because this came up in such a specific order, and I have a story now. I feel like I have to share. When I was in my early 20s, before the bike shop, when I was still in New York, I worked at a Guitar Center. I also have terrible IBS, and at the time.
Man.
We're in your early 20s, so you stayed out really late. I was playing in bands at night, and I was doing comedy, and I ate like crap, and every day from like 11 to noon, sometimes longer, I just had to be in the bathroom. And it got to a point where after like a couple months, the manager called me in the office and was like, hey, Jake, so we noticed that you disappear for about an hour to an hour and a half every day at about 11 to 11:15. And it's been brought to our attention. Like where are you going? We know you don't smoke. We know you're not taking smoke breaks. Like, you just vanish. And I literally had to explain to him, like, yeah, I'm taking a shit and it's awful. Trust me.
Was there a bathroom in the?
Yeah, but it was.
They didn't check the bathroom.
I think it was just one of those instances where it's pretty big. Guitar Center's pretty big.
Yeah.
Like. It wasn't like a single bathroom. There's stalls and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I can't believe I'm in an like, is this what I just graduated? Oh, I didn't graduate. Let me rephrase that. I just left college, and I'm like, is this what the workforce is? Having somebody ask you where you've been because you have IBS and you're on the toilet.
It absolutely is what the workforce is.
Exactly. This was. And so in that instance, hey, I
time your shits.
I couldn't control it. It's not. It was. It's not like I was doing it on purpose. I wasn't having fun in there.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't even have a smartphone at the time. I couldn't even play games or watching.
Did you have
TikToks.
a flip phone? Could you play Snake?
No, I couldn't even play Snake. I think I had a pager maybe.
You could put little. You could put the word boobs. In there.
I could write boobs. Yeah, I could write boobs on a pager. Turn it upside down and be like,
what are you in there for an hour and a half? I was writing boobs on a pager.
How many times? It only takes one.
I remember when I worked for the restaurant Maggiano's years ago as a waiter. This is speaking of quiet quitting, and before shifts, you would have to like read from the Maggiano's like employee handbook out loud, almost fucking religious, right? Like it felt like reading like, and now from Corinthians 5 or whatever. And they asked me to read one time, and I said I didn't want to. And my manager was like almost staring me down. Like, you remember like when you were a kid and you did something and your dad got mad or your mom got mad and like gave you the look? Like, my manager was like staring at me like a grown man. I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
He's a grown man. And he's like staring at me, and he calls me into his office, and he like gives me this weird lecture about like how important perception is, and that how he perceives that, I'm not fully invested in the Maggiano's like whole
family, the Maggiano's family,
100%.
Right.
And it was like, I'm not gonna, I like, and people would like, nobody wanted to do it, but like they wanted you to be enthusiastic and impassioned about what you're reading about, like customer service or the freshness of our ingredients or whatever the fuck.
And like,
it was
don't
so
get me wrong, that
dumb.
makes sense. Like branding, like, but also if you don't actually care, and by the way, if you don't stand by that, I hope that, hosts on Dragon Wagon Radio are proud of the network, and I want them to speak highly and be like, yeah, we're an indie network. We do this, we do that.
Yeah.
I would like that as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell people lie.
That's not part of the job. Just do the thing that we need you to do.
Yeah.
If your thing is PR, then that is your job.
Right.
But that's not your thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if your thing is the chef needs to know about the ingredients.
Right.
But if your What were you, a waiter?
I was a waiter, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, it's also
I can't have.
Yeah.
I
Imagine,
would never tip you. You would be the worst waiter.
I will say. I will
my
say.
God.
So slow.
I will say-
Were you good?
I was awful. I was an awful server.
I cannot picture you carrying
I
anything.
was awful.
also
Like a big tray. I cannot picture just like oh god.
First off, there's no way. I'm assuming this is long before like vape pens. He reeks of weed.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
Okay.
totally reeked of weed.
And just-
always high.
And couldn't remember. He was constantly bringing food to the wrong tables.
Wrong tables, yeah.
Constantly.
Wrong restaurant.
Forgetting things.
You don't work here, man.
Every
Get to your
time.
next door.
Every single time he delivered an order to the back for table 420, he made the dumbest joke.
Hey,
Every time.
This is usually my table.
I mean, yeah, all of this is true. And I was a terrible server.
I get it though. Like the idea being that like listen, you're not doing a good enough job of selling what I'm supposed to sell as the owner of this.
Exactly.
And maybe there is something to be said that's on him for not hiring a better person to do that.
Yeah, that's on you, buddy. You hired me.
Yeah, exactly. You saw me in the interview.
And now you're stuck with me.
But no, I get that though. Like there is a level of doing what's in the job description. And if I'm checking off the boxes within this job description,
it's doing what is required of you and not going and say, "Hey, I'll work weekends for free. I'll come over to this. I'll go to the after hours
or not
office."
even hour stuff because you keep going to like the extended hours, even within your workday. If it's like, "Hey, could you do this task?" Well, it turns out that's not in my job description.
Yeah.
You have 3 other people who are supposed to do that or whatever. And it's
it's like, "Hey, would you mind doing this?" Yeah, it's like, no, that's not what I do. I do this. I'll do that if you pay me.
Right.
I will 100% do that.
Especially if it requires a skill that I don't have on here.
Yes.
This happens to me all the time. I have throughout years of doing, creative freelance and teaching myself all these different skills and working all these different jobs. And now I'm just being a pompous asshole. I have a lot of little abilities.
No, not now. You've
what
always
happens?
been
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm so humble. What'll happen is I'll get hired on a set to do a specific task. They'll find out I do something else. They'll find out I'm a graphic designer, even though I'm there to do BTS or something. And now all of a sudden I'm helping art department design shit. And I'm like, okay, cool, but you're not now paying me more. I just happen to be here.
Yeah.
And you've learned I have this other ability and now you're exploiting that ability.
Yeah, that's exactly the difference.
It's happened in every retail job I had. That same bike shop that I tried to quiet quit from, at least my definition of quiet quit. I made their website. I redid all the point of sale branding, the posters. They didn't pay me extra for that.
It doesn't sound like it sounds like you were
I was a salesman.
quiet working harder or loudly working harder.
It was before that. Yeah. Then when I realized I wasn't getting any more money for doing all this extra work and just being paid as a salesman, that's when I decided.
And I think too, like the quiet quit, it's not someone who's disengaged from the job.
No.
It's someone who's like, I'm gonna do the job that's required. I'm just not gonna take on extra work for nothing. Sure. And I think that's
and in that instance, I don't see that as quiet quitting. I see that as
that's the
being
term.
an employee.
Yes, exactly. But that's what they're saying. They're like, oh, they're not going above and beyond. They're quiet quitting.
No.
Yeah.
They're quiet quitting. Oh, they don't want this job. No. They're doing the job.
Yeah.
They're just not.
They're showing up.
They're showing up. They're on time,
fulfilling their obligations. Yeah. Interesting. Work is weird.
The surveillance stuff is
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I think it's so fucking creepy, and also like, their ability to be able to tell, oh, you know what, I saw you send 3 non-work emails, and then deduct your pay. Like that to me is crazy.
Yeah. Because there is no job. I especially now in a world where we have phones and we're connected to everybody. Where the second you clock in the morning or whatever hours are, second you clock in. The second you clock out, where you have done nothing, absolutely nothing but fulfill a task, maybe in an Amazon warehouse because they've designed it to be that way.
Right.
Yeah. And like you have to still be able to live your life. You have to be able to, eat, go to the bathroom. You need to be able to uphold other obligations that life might throw you. If you have a phone call, your doctor needs to cancel an appointment, or you need to schedule an appointment. It's only open a specific window because, by the way, business hours are business hours for everything, not just the places you work, but the places you shop and the places you go to and
get your hair cut and your teeth
exactly
your teeth lengthened.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do.
Your hair lengthened and your teeth cut.
Long in the tooth.
But it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And I feel like clocking in and out is enough.
Well, I mean, you got to do the stuff in between.
I meant like from home. I know. Having that ability. Because by the way, and the reality is I think for as much as we went over this a few weeks ago, like, oh, nobody wants to work, everybody's lazy. I think the reality is the majority of the people are in fact more afraid of losing their jobs.
Yeah.
And I think more people are like Alexandra is, where probably is doing work when they're not clocked in.
Totally.
Is probably so afraid of clocking in and doing something non-work related because they'll get caught. They're so afraid of
because all the power's on the other side.
Exactly.
All the power is like there's someone out there desperate enough to work over, and it's like I'm going to get that's their trick is to like they know there's someone out there who's because they in the working class who needs money.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will get the person to exploit you. Yes. I will get another person who's exploitable, who doesn't understand.
Right. Yeah.
So there is that fear.
And I mean, some of these companies, and obviously there's different ranges of it from like small businesses to corporations and stuff. But, I guess the structure still remains the same, which is like, these are like mini little dictatorships. Right. And of course, like Amazon is a dictatorship that has, a large workforce and over $1 trillion, which is, more money than some nations even have. Right. And I think we oftentimes think of dictatorships as only being a part of our government, political. But what is a government? It's just the organization of human beings, right?
Which
and
most companies
resources,
are.
And like everything is organizations, and like. If we don't have some sort of democratic say in our workplace, then it is kind of like a dictatorship.
It's also it's very interesting to me that companies have presidents, and treasurers, and it's all of the same positions that any government, but a lot of
security
governments
forces,
whatever you call it,
totally.
They're all exactly the same.
Top down decision making, all sorts of like. I think things that as a society we've moved past. Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We hope that you enjoyed this week's conversation. For all things good work, visit goodworkpod.com. That's goodworkpod.com. There you can find official merchandise, links to our personal social media accounts, and our Discord community, which is completely free that you can join the conversation in. Discord link is just it's a community, it's a government, it's a everything that you can imagine, and there is no president.
And we also want to get some of your I quit stories or all the other stuff we talked about. Can't remember all the other things we said. Any kind of, just fucking email us, whatever you want. I don't care. It's goodworkpod@gmail.com or call the Good Work voicemail at 929-256-5151. That's 929-256-5151.
Also, please subscribe, rate, and review to Good Work on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you listen to. Help us out.
And lastly, but certainly not least, please consider becoming a patron of the brand new Good Work Patreon account that is found at patreon.com/goodworkpod. Patreon.com/goodworkpod. We have a lot of fun stuff in store. We're going to start doing some fun bonus exclusives for patrons. We're going to do a little series where we go through each of our own work history and get to know your hosts a little bit better, as well as a lot of other fun
scenes,
stuff.
Get a little see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, you get to see how the good sausage work pod is made.
Now we got some merch too. I know we're wrapping up here. We got merch.
We do have merch, which can also be found at goodworkpod.com. In fact, goodworkpod.com is your one-stop shop for all this stuff. You can even find a link to the Patreon there as well. There's a lot of fun stuff in store. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and I think that'll do it.
Good work.
Good work.
It's Dragon Wagon.